Okay, so let's first talk about the ascension process, because the whole world, the earth, is going through this ascension process. There's been a lot of talk about that in the spiritual community, and the ascension process is basically the evolvement of humanity's consciousness to another level. And that basically is what ascension is. It has been prophesied for a while. It was supposed to happen in 2012. That was the time of the Mayan calendars predicted, but I think there's a little bit of room for error there. And I don't think this is just necessarily down to the second, because I'm finding out that the whole universe has a kind of conscious element to it. So I believe, being an intelligent consciousness, that everything will happen when it's supposed to happen, if, in a way, when everything lines up. But it seems as if that when we go into this new consciousness, this upgrade, if you like, software upgrade for humanity, then it's very possible that we leave this dimension. So this is the third dimension that we live in now, and we will go into the fourth dimension. And there's been a lot of talk about the fifth dimension. Drunvalo Melchizedek, that I do read a lot of his books, he's been saying that we will go into the fourth dimension and we will only be there for a short while. And it would be like a little training exercise. Every dimension is like a school. So if you can think of dimensions of like schools of learning, within each dimension, there will be certain key things, like a part of the curriculum, if you like, key topics which will be in our faces throughout our lives and throughout our existence, in order for us to learn about that. And they'll be presented in different ways. And so when we go into the fourth dimension, you can understand that it will be completely different on some levels. There will be some things that we recognize. It will be very similar. We will still be on Earth, but it is like a completely different place. So imagine you're in a school or a college, and this one's called the third dimension. Then we've left the third dimensional college, and then we've packed our bags, and now we're going into the fourth dimension college. So we're going to move in, we're going to find our room in that dimension. So it's completely different. The landscape will look as similar, but it will operate in a completely different way. And so it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to it. So Drunvalo says we actually won't be there for very long. And then we will go into the fifth dimension, which will be very much different again. So that's what the ascension process is. Again, I don't know all the details, but it's about the consciousness of humanity going up to a new high that it's never been to before. So that is ascension. So this energy that the sun is releasing, there's also some other energy which we're passing through in space. But the common denominator is that there is high frequency energy coming to the earth. And I will speak about this a little bit more in one of the sections that I'm going to explain. But what I wanted to say is that it is affecting us all individually, everybody on the earth, everything on the earth. The ascension process, this raising of our consciousness to a new level, this is what this energy coming to the earth, the sunspots, it's all having this effect on us. And so with this ascension change, this raising of our consciousness, that shift in consciousness to a new level, it's a change. It's a change. And changes means that old things go out and new things come in. When there are these changes, that means there's inevitably some kind of disruption in some way. And, we don't always like change because we're quite happy as we are sometimes. But this change is very important and it will benefit us all in the long run. So I just wanted to give a little example of this. And I thought of the digital TVs. This new digital TV, which was broadcast on a different frequency, we had to upgrade our TVs in order to get that new frequency. There was a process that we all had to go through, everyone in the world, in order to get this new frequency, and it caused some disruption. So, at that time you might have had to buy one of these new digital TVs, or you might have had to buy an adapter for your existing TV so you could receive the signal. And then if you receive the signal by your aerial, you would have had to get a new aerial, a digital TV aerial, to receive the signal. And all these things need to be purchased and arranged and installed and then connected up. Those different cables. You've got to dispose of the old technology. You might want to put it on the wall. You might have a different TV cabinet. It might disrupt the whole room, changing everything around. There was a lot of disruption and a lot of changes, and you've got to get used to this new technology and how to use it. And then there's all these new features. What do? There was a lot of time involved, and everybody incorporated these changes into their lives and into their homes in the way that it worked for them, and that they could understand it, and they got it set up how they wanted it to work so that they could use it the way they wanted to. There was a lot of things to do. There's a lot of disruption and changes that we had to go through. So what I'm trying to say here is that the ascension process is the same thing. It's a very similar thing. We are learning to work with these new frequencies. You could say the sun is the main transmitter of these frequencies. When we automatically pick these frequencies up, we've got some kind of internal aerial that we pick up these frequencies, or they just affect us. It's helping to upgrade us, helping to upgrade our bodies as well. So our bodies become a lighter, our bodies are able to harness this higher frequency, this higher consciousness, without having to leave the body. That the ascension process is the whole of the world, the whole of humanity, learning how to work with these new higher frequencies. Changes. A lot of the old ways which are now no longer compatible with these frequencies are going to go out. And then some new ways of being will replace that. It's all happening to us on an individual basis. And of course, then it will also affect us in our group communities and governments and national levels. So if there's outdated ways of governing the people, then these will be going out. New ways will be coming in. And so that is why current events may be a little bit odd and strange things are coming up. A lot of the things are still trying to be hidden, but they're all surfacing in little pockets all over the place. This truths are coming up, and it's unstoppable. And these sort of things, it seemed as if they wouldn't have come up 50 years ago, these little pockets of truth. And this is proof of the ascension process. Really, just the point I'm trying to make is that these ascension frequencies, they are all affecting us on a subtle level. But when you stand back, I think the effects are really large. So these higher frequencies do affect us, our consciousness, our ways of living on a personal level. They're affecting everyone on the earth. And it will bring up our own stuff, if you like, that we've gained from this life or may have still got from past lives. And I think when we come onto earth as a human, there are specific things that we need to work through and understand, and they are quite difficult to us personally. We get triggered, find it difficult to deal with certain issues or certain things, and you may try and avoid these things because they make you react in a certain way without thinking, or you get emotional for some reason. And this new high energy frequencies, they are kind of relentless. Now they're just coming wave after wave. But what they will do is they will look to bring out the things that you need to let go of. And so a lot of the things which you perhaps get annoyed by, or the situations which you don't want to deal with, they will be coming up in your face, so to speak, so that you can deal with. This energy will activate those things for a reason, so that you can look at those issues within yourself and to bring up those issues and to deal with those in order to move forward. Let me tell you that everybody's going through that. Everybody's going through that. It's not an easy process. And so everybody will be trying to pretend that they're all having a wonderful time and presenting an image of, oh, this is me being Mr. Perfect, Mrs. Perfect. Everyone tries to portray, I'm fine, everything's fine, and we're not always fine. And everybody is going through the same process. There is nobody special on this planet. in that way. Everybody is going through their own stuff. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on this planet. A lot of people come down to Earth to help out, if you like, with the ascension process and provide that extra boost of vibration to get the Earth to where it needs to be. But even those people will have things that they still need to work on, and this time will be utilized so that they can work on those things. So nobody gets away with it. Nobody gets away with it. It's like saying, well, I passed this exam. Well, there's still an area where you didn't get all the marks. And that is basically what you'll be working on during this lifetime. And the interesting thing is that this very thing may be difficult for us, but it's very easy for someone else. They don't even think about it. It's just common sense to them. But for us, it may take a lifetime to understand that. And it's the same thing for them. They may have some things that we take for granted. And it's just like, well, that's easy. And it's interesting that perhaps we should be helping each other in that way. If we do find it easy, I think that's a big thing about this time, is helping other people out. We all have to respect each other, respect everybody's issues, and help each other through this time. And I feel that it's a time of acceleration that we can let go of a lot more than we would normally do in years and lives gone past. When we stand back a bit, we can see that perhaps in some respects, the whole humanity 3D experience is just a 3D game. It's just a 3D software game. And you've got these different parameters which are set about what you want the character to learn. We are the characters in the game. Going from point A to B is just a way to get us into the world to react with different people and situations, and all these scenarios can come up and we can have these experiences so we can gain knowledge and understanding about these issues which we're having difficulty dealing with. Let's say you're going on a road trip from one side of the country to another, and you just have to deliver something to a relative. Let's say they need this something and you have to go and deliver that. And you think, oh, okay, let me do that. You think that is the whole point of the trip. Yet it's very likely that it's not. It's very likely that it's just a way to get you into the car, to drive over there, to get you involved in life. And through being involved in life, you will have to stop at certain places. You will have to go and get some food. You will have to interact with different people, come across different situations. You go through all these different experiences and emotions. There are some challenging things that happen. We need these scenarios and other people and interactions in order to bring them up fully so that we can feel them emotionally and feel the depth of them. And it has certain reactions on us that makes us understand that maybe we're not handling the situation very well. And when we get to the other end of the journey and we deliver, we think, why do these things keep happening? I just want to deliver this item to my relative. That is the unimportant part, really. It's the getting there. But the thing to realize is that these things come up not to annoy you, but they come up, the emotions are there to help you to realize something that needs looking at here. Why did I get emotional with this? Why did I react like that? They are an alarm, if you like, or something that is there to help you. And so the big point is that once we release these things, once we understand those things, it's like, oh, that is, yes, why have I been reacting like this all that time? I've been completely seeing it from the wrong perspective. And once you get that perspective, you can move on. And then that's a huge weight that you've let go of, and then you can rise to another level, a higher consciousness. And so this energy is all there to bring these things up so that you can rise, so that you can ascend. So these frequencies, this ascension process, it's all about now looking at whatever is affecting you, looking at what the things are that's annoying you or you have difficulty dealing with. And those are key points for you to understand and look at and journal. And I'll come on to that a little bit more later on. But what I'm saying is, this is the ascension process. It's affecting us all individually. The energy is coming onto the earth and it is affecting us so that we can go up to a new level. We are receiving these new frequencies and we are changing, like we are changing over to the new digital TVs that we did so many years back. We are now ascending to a new level of human software, you might say. We are upgrading, and that involves some changes, and we're all going through the changes. The Earth, the solar system, everyone, everything, in fact, in the solar system, everything on Earth is going through this ascension process. Ascension is the upgrading of our consciousness to a new high where we've never been before. Sound a bit like Star Trek now. It is heralded as a wonderful time, a great peace. This end of ages, which the Mayans have talked about, the end of ages is what we've just come through. This 26,000 year cycle, and I will come on to cycles in the next section. We've just started this new cycle. We've just come into the start of it. So as far as comparing it with our 24-hour day, it's just like the few seconds into this new spiritual day. It is heralded as a wonderful time, a time of peace, a time of love, a time of prosperity. And right now we are going through the change from what used to be to what is coming in. And we're just in the middle of that. And change, as I was saying, means that old things need to go out and new things can then come in. And so that's where we are. We're in the process. It's a process. It's a process that we all going through individually, but it's on an individual level, a group level, a universal level. So all these things have to be updated. All the outmoded ways of leadership and governing us and controlling us, any form of control, basically has to go. So we're in this change, and so we're in this process. So you can understand that this does take some time. And hopefully that gives an idea of why things are not that brilliant in the world. Some of the current events are not what we would like, perhaps, but it is a process. It is a process. So there are things that we can do to help this journey, to help this process into this wonderful new age. And I'll come on to that a little bit more later on. So that is the information I wanted to speak about on Ascension. And now let's go into the next section, cycles. And this whole ascension process seems to be a cycle. We are governed by these cycles of time, such as day and a night. And everything we do is governed by this structure. But I believe that there's a lot of other cycles that are on a bigger level that we are very much governed by as well and affect our consciousness in very specific ways. It also explains this end of ages that the Mayans have talked about and this new age that we're going into, this age where we've ascended and this new time. So this is what I'm going to talk about next.